I'm currently in Mexico, and being here got me thinking about a question I get all the time. And is that, are homes really that different from Canadian homes to Mexican homes? Let's find out. In today's video, we're comparing homes in Mexico versus Winnipeg, Canada. Not only price, but also in terms of space, lifestyle, and design, and what surprises most Canadians. This is not saying that one is better than the other one, but understanding the main differences, especially if you are a buyer, investor, or someone curious. Let's start with the big one, price. Depending where you're located in Canada, it's gonna be the price. Obviously, it's not the same in Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, or Winnipeg. Where I come from, in Winnipeg, it also depends in what part of the city you're located. Homes in the south tend to be more expensive than in the north. So in general, talking about Winnipeg, the single family home average price sits around the mid 400s. In many parts of Mexico, that same budget can get you a fully detached home with a large outdoor space and sometimes even a pool or a rooftop. But here is something that people often miss. In Mexico, location matters even more than size. Tourist areas, gated communities, and coastal cities can get really expensive, and sometimes even similar to Canadian prices. Winnipeg, on the other hand, offers something unique in Canada. Fully detached homes and still affordable prices compared to most major Canadian cities. Now, let's talk about homes and layouts. Something that surprises a lot of Canadian buyers here in Mexico is how homes are built. In Mexico, concrete and brick are standard. Homes are designed to stay cool and not warm. Open courtyards, patios, and rooftops are very common. In Winnipeg and in Canada in general, homes are built for the extreme weather, either the freezing cold during winter, the minus 40s, and during summer we get plus 40s. So HVAC system and insulation are essential for starters. Then basement, at least in Winnipeg, is the norm, it's the standard. The garages are highly valued, which is funny because not everybody stores their car or parks their car inside the garage, but they make the house more expensive. Square footage can be very similar, but the usable space can be very different. For example, in Mexico, the outdoor space is part of the home, whereas in Winnipeg is more like the indoor space that counts, and it makes sense because you live in there the entire year, whereas outside you only spend around 4 months, 3 months, something like that. Now let's talk about the lifestyle, because that's where the difference really shows. In Mexico, for example, if a home is built in a great neighborhood within walking distance to shops, cafes, and malls or parks, that's a highly valued home. In Winnipeg, homes are designed for extreme weather for the 4 seasons. Proximity to school and work is key. Indoor storage is essential, even more so if it's heated. The thing that Canadians often are shocked about is how minimalistic homes look like down here. And that's because we're more practical and more functional. So as long as a home is fine in the layout ways, we put more attention in the outdoor space rather than the inside. Now, buying a home in Mexico is very different legally and financially compared to Canada. Things like property owner structures, financing options, and even property taxes work different. In Winnipeg and Canada in general, the system is very regulated, financing is straightforward, and buyer protections are strong. That stability is something that people appreciate once they start comparing. This leads me to one of the most common questions I get from Canadians. Can foreigners actually buy property in Mexico? The short answer is Yes, but the process is very different. There's two main ways a Canadian can buy here in Mexico. The first one is buying outside the restricted zone, which would be a regular purchase just like any other. The second way is buying within a restricted zone. And what are these restricted zones anyways? Well, these are 50 kilometers from a coastline or 100 kilometers from an international border. In these cases, foreigners use something called a fideicomiso, which is a bank trust that allows full rights to use, sell, and pass their property on to heirs. Unlike Canada, most purchases are cash because, of course, of high interest rates. Mortgages for foreigners do exist, but they come, of course, at a higher interest rates than normal. In Mexico, notaries play a much larger role, representing the buyer and the seller in the transaction. Closing costs in Mexico are usually higher than in Canada. It's roughly between 5 to 8% depending where you're purchasing in Mexico. Property taxes, however, are much lower compared to Canada. That said, maintenance, property management, and long-distance ownership should be planned ahead, especially if you don't live in Mexico full-time. The biggest takeaway is this: if you plan to buy a home here in Mexico, you have to seek legal professional advice and professionals in the real estate area, well-known local people that can actually help you buy a really good asset in a great area. So to wrap up, Mexico offers homes with focused on the lifestyle, built for the outdoors, and built for the warm weather, just like I am in the middle of January outside recording this video. On the other hand, Winnipeg offers stability and predictability because houses appreciate around 5% year over year. It's not that in Mexico they don't appreciate. They do appreciate, but at a much lower rate, like 2%, 2.5%, something around there, depending on the area. And of course, Winnipeg has homes built for extreme weather. Thanks for watching till the end. Don't forget to hit the like button, that helps me a lot. Subscribe, go watch my other YouTube videos, and I'll see you in the next video.